And welcome back to the Zanpakuto creation series from Daniel Up. We have, what is the Zanpakuto of number 5 from the KND? So, something that should be noted, eventually, obviously, I think you did give me more than one of the KND. I'll probably go through all the KND at some point, Daniel. Something I want to keep kind of a theme with all the original KND members is I want their Zanpakutos to, they can all be powerful or unique or whatever, but whatever the Shikai form is, whatever the form the Zanpakuto takes, the shape it takes, I do want it to represent something I say a kid would have, a kid would use, something, or at least to a degree, something of adolescence. That's where number 5 comes in. Now, number 5 is actually, despite her number ranking, she's actually second in command, if I'm not mistaken, when number 1 is out of there. But regardless of that, she's very intelligent. She's got a bit more street smarts than the rest. She's also got an obsession with candy and adventures along that route. So I kind of parlayed that aspect of her into a Zanpakuto, which makes the Zanpakuto, personally, in my opinion, a Kido type. Standard katana. Its release is Make It Sweet, Cotton Candy Crane, or Watakashi Kurin. Its Bankai is Candy Carnival. KND Kanihoru. I might have butchered that last one. Now, its Shikai kind of takes the form similar to that Hikifune's spoon. Now, it has been confirmed that spoon is in fact her Zanpakuto. We do not know its name, and we do not know what exactly her Zanpakuto to this date actually does. There's a couple hints here or there that might deal with some sort of level of manipulation of life energy, but that seems to actually be more of an ability of her, not the Zanpakuto. Should also note the spirit takes the form of kind of a pink fluffy crane, a cotton candy crane that looks kind of like a flamenco, but not quite. But her spoon is not the same. Hers is like a rice wok spoon. Number 5's would look more closer to an ice cream scoop without, say, a button. It's just like a big, deeper scoop. There's still a blade on the edge of the spoon, and worst case scenario, you can still whack someone with a spoon. However, what this Zanpakuto actually does is it mirrors another Squad Zero member, Senjumaru's Shigarame. Now, her Zanpakuto Shigarame basically manipulates clothes, textiles, and can even manipulate reishi into threads and just mix and match and do all sorts of things. Theoretically, it's got no limit to what it can do, as long as she can create it. Number 5 Zanpakuto would work similar to this, but as the name suggests, what it does is that when she swings her Zanpakuto, she's collecting Ryatsu reishi in the air, scooping it around, and more or less creating these thick strands of Ryatsu. This Ryatsu can then be like hurled, or she's like building up enough of it. She can get a giant string of it, glove of it, and kind of bind someone. And once someone is caught in this reishi, these reishi strings, these cotton candy threads, if you will, it's very difficult for them to get out. Furthermore, these threads can be fueled by more reishi in the environment. So if she binds it between 2 trees, it could zap the energy of the trees out and strengthen the reishi bonds of those reishi strings. Now, if those strings are broken, the cotton candy threads, if you will disappear. But you still got to be able to break them. Obviously, the Zanpakuto is not really designed for combat in the general sense. Although, as I said, the deep scoop nature of the spoon blade does mean that it is designed in a way where you can still use it for battle. But her Bankai would basically be her sticking the spoon in the ground, swirling around in a circle, yelling Bankai, and all of a sudden the ground sinks and up from it comes like this big dish. And you and your opponent are kind of caught in there to a degree, but not really. Either one of you can leave at any time you desire, but it's kind of irrelevant. What this now does is it's essentially a giant cotton candy machine, which, if you know how those work, you actually just have to stick something in there and kind of move it around, and it collects sugar. That's now how her Zanpakuto works. She can just keep her spoon aloft and just constantly collect reishi threads, and use them for combat. But beyond that, it's someone other than her, because her own natural Ryatsu is kind of immune to this effect. Or at the very minimum, I could think of it more like, say, Shinji's Bankai, where as long as he's in the middle of his safe space, he's unaffected. I think that's actually probably the better option. But if it's anyone else, anywhere else in the big dish, because it works like a cotton candy machine, they're immediately just going to get bound up, almost like spider web, by these cotton candy reishi threads. They're just going to bind and seal you up. That's more what this Zanpakuto is designed for. Containing, and its Bankai would be sealing away. Because, like cotton candy, it would take form. But unlike cotton candy, because it's Ryatsu, eventually the Ryatsu kind of hardens into a shell, and you can just bind someone in there. And so at that point then, once you release the Bankai and they're stuck, because again, it's your Ryatsu, you can then seal your sword back up and just run them through. And that's kind of how I see this Zanpakuto working. Now, this Zanpakuto would have problems. There's no real strong melee capabilities with it. Hell, there's no real strong offensive capabilities with it, save for the blade itself and the blades on the scoop of the spoon. Also, again, as always, the Ryatsu versus Ryatsu debate. But beyond that, if you get someone with a strong enough, like, say, energy absorption ability, this Zanpakuto means dick. If you get, say, Yumachika going all out and using, oh god, I always forget, is it Ryu Kujaku is the real name? Or is it Fuji Kujaku? I want to say it's Ryu Kujaku. That's what it is. Or Ryo Kujaku. Point being, you get someone like that who's got energy absorption capabilities and a Zanpakuto that relies heavily on Reishi and Ryatsu, that's going to be nightmarish for this Zanpakuto. Anyone with a strong enough cutting ability, a Kenpachi, hell, even a Ichigo with Getsuga Tensho, an ability that could cut through threads, would be able to, at minimum, just completely neg the Shikai, and probably have very little difficulty with the Bankai. People with AoE effects or abilities that tamper with energy beyond just absorption would be problematic. So while this is a cool Zanpakuto and effective against certain opponents, there are other opponents this just would not work against very well. But number 5, if we were to look at like a little mini 13 court guard or a 5 court guard squad with the KND members, she would definitely also be using Keto. She's one of those individuals. The Kenpachi of the group, not necessarily in strength but personality, or the Ikaku of the group would definitely be number 4. Number 3, yeah, that's a good. Let's see, who would I like in all the KND to? Yoro. I'm not trying to say because she's black. I'm just saying she gives me a very. Number 5 does give Yoruichi vibes, but I could also say she gives kind of Urahara-ish vibes too. Like, she knows a bit more than others. She's not a genius, but she certainly has a better head on her shoulder than others. Or maybe like a Shunsui. Actually, you know what? She gets off a much better Shunsui than Urahara vibes. Because she feels like the person who has kind of the more worldly knowledge among the 5, even more so than number 1. And she seems to be able to kind of think her way out of situations a bit more effectively. So yeah, I'd go maybe more Shunsui than Urahara. I'd definitely say number 4 is akin to Ikaku, or maybe like a weaker version of Kenpa. He's definitely going to have a melee type whenever we get around to him. Number 3 is probably akin to Mashiro. Yeah, or say a Yajiro. Yeah, probably that. But that doesn't mean she might not have something beyond a melee ability. Number two just strikes me as a good standard Soul Reaper. So I get the vibe he's someone akin to like a Cayenne, and he's a little wacky though. So, and I mean, you could say that with Cayenne, maybe a Renji type, or maybe something akin more to like a Rangiku. Like she has her own quirks and natures as well, so maybe that. And then number 1 is definitely, he's not a Yamamoto type because he is the leader of the group, but he's more closer to, let's say, a Byakuya, or even like a Sajin, someone who is serious but not so serious to be humorless. So yeah, definitely not Byakuya, but maybe like an Ukitake. You know what? Or a Shunsui? Well, no, he's definitely not a Shunsui. He's definitely someone who takes himself more seriously than lighthearted. But by the way, this is all the rest of it where I'm like, I had everything else like planned out in my head for like the dialogue. Now I'm just riffing. Who would I liken him to the most? That is a very good question. Someone serious enough to be the leader, but with enough levity to not be a complete stick in the mud. Not a Byakuya type. Like I said, I think I liken number 5 more to Shinsui than him. Definitely not a Soifone or Unohana type. I don't know, really. I mean, maybe kind of a more serious version of Shinji? Because Shinji definitely can be quirky and be able to have a little levity. And number 1 certainly has those moments, but he is the leader and the most serious of them. So, I don't know. Who would you liken him to when it comes to the 13 court guard? No, you know what? I think I'd liken him more to a Renji type. A guy who takes his job seriously, but still has those wacky, what you kind of feel are out of character, but really in character moments. I liken him to a Renji. But that's just my opinion. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Maybe I said this long ago that at some point I do like a lantern core of all the characters I've made, Green Lanterns and Blue Lanterns, and show what the core looks like, or like a 13 core. Maybe at least with the KND, whenever I get around to doing the full 5 of them, maybe I'll make a mini 13 court guard like with them. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll try to do something with it. I don't know. But until then, that's my thoughts. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.